My parents asked me to be the bigger person and give my baby to my brother. My brother Fielding and his wife had been trying to get pregnant for 5 years with no success. When my wife and I announced we were expecting, Fielding pulled me aside at the party and said, that should have been us. I told him I was sorry he was struggling and he just stared at me with empty eyes. I thought he was grieving. I had no idea what he was actually planning. Fielding started calling the baby our family's miracle every time he saw us. He showed up uninvited to my wife's ultrasound appointment and tried to come into the room with us. When I told him that was inappropriate, he looked at me like I'd slapped him and said, I just want to see our baby. I told my parents, and my mom said he was just excited to be an uncle, and I needed to stop being so selfish. A few weeks later, my wife came home shaking because she ran into one of Fielding's co-workers at the grocery store. The co-worker congratulated her and said Fielding had been telling everyone at his office that he was expecting a baby soon. My mom said he probably just misspoke and we were making a big deal out of nothing. At a family dinner, Fielding sat next to my wife even though there were other open seats. He kept reaching over and touching her belly without asking. At one point, he leaned in and whispered, I can't wait to bring you home, and my wife jerked away from him. I told my parents we needed to talk about Fielding's behavior, and my dad said, he's been through so much. Can't you just let him have this? I didn't know what that meant until my wife found the texts. She was looking for a photo Fielding had sent months ago and scrolled too far. There were messages between Fielding and his wife that made her blood run cold. They don't deserve this baby. We've been waiting longer. We've been trying longer. It's almost time. And then one from the night we announced the pregnancy. God finally answered our prayers. He just delivered it to the wrong address. My parents called a family meeting 2 months before the due date. We walked in, and Fielding was already sitting on the couch with tears streaming down his face. My parents were on either side of him like bodyguards. My mom took a deep breath and said, we need to discuss the baby's future. I asked what that meant. My dad said, Fielding and his wife have been trying for 5 years. You got pregnant on your first try. That's not fair. I waited for him to laugh. He didn't. My mom said, we're asking you to be the bigger person here. Let Fielding and his wife raise the baby. You're young. You can have more. My wife grabbed my arm so hard her nails broke the skin. I pulled out my phone and showed them the screenshots of Fielding's texts. My mom barely looked. She said, he's just hurting. You don't understand what infertility does to a person. Fielding stood up and his tears dried up like someone flipped a switch. He said, I have been waiting for 5 years. 5 years of needles and doctors and failure. You got drunk one night and got everything I ever wanted. I said that didn't entitle him to my child. He stepped closer and said, I've already set up the nursery. I painted it yellow because we don't know the gender yet. I bought a crib and a changing table and a rocking chair that plays lullabies. That baby has a home waiting for her. My wife said we were leaving. Fielding grabbed her arm and said, you're not taking my baby anywhere. I shoved him off her and told my parents to look at what they created. My mom said, you're tearing this family apart over nothing. We walked out and I called a lawyer the next morning. We got a restraining order and told the hospital that nobody except my wife's mother was allowed in the delivery room or anywhere near us. My daughter was born on a Tuesday at 3 in the morning. I woke up a few hours later to a shadow moving in the dark room. Fielding was standing over the bassinet with his hands reaching down. I screamed and he spun around holding my daughter against his chest. He said, she's mine. She was always supposed to be mine. God just made a mistake and I'm fixing it. I tackled him and my wife caught the baby before she hit the ground. Fielding was on the floor sobbing and screaming, give her back. I've waited 5 years. I deserve her more than you. Security dragged him out while he kept screaming that he would have been a better father. The police arrested him in the hallway. My parents showed up 20 minutes later and my mom looked at me with pure hatred and said, I hope you're happy. You've destroyed your brother's life. My daughter just turned 1. Fielding took a plea deal for attempted kidnapping and my parents still think I should apologize for pressing charges.